Real talk, raw truth, raging hearts. Welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hi, welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. I'm Heather.
And I'm Ashley. How's your week going?
Well, my week has been fun, actually. It's been flirtatious, and I've had a friend from out of town come in to visit that I haven't seen since last year. No, year before last. Uh so that was great. Like, I've just had a really great weekend. Last night I dressed up, wore my fishnets, and a skirt and like like the half top, like kind of like I'm wearing today. A half top, but it was black with the back cut out. So I felt really good last night. I looked good. I had a really great night. My week, like I said, lot of flirtatious, fun energy. Um, Still waiting to see what happens when the ex comes back into town, see what happens there and if that moves forward. I mean, I can't say that I'm not looking forward to what can be, because there was definitely potential there before, but I'm also not sitting here holding my breath like, oh, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket again, because that's not who I am anymore.
No, you have stronger
So,
boundaries and you know more now about what you want than you did before.
yeah, and I'm really settling into the idea of my last ex, even though everything was so intense and short-lived. I'm really settling into the idea that while it was temporary, it was more for my benefit to see that what I'm looking for is possible in a person, even if not him.
I definitely agree with that.
And so that has definitely helped move me forward out of that sad, depressive energy that was hitting me a lot in waves. Even though I was trying for it not to, it was definitely hitting.
Yeah, that it was.
But that kind of fits for our conversation today. We're going to be diving into attachment styles, the way we connect, avoid, or cling in relationships. And since people have requested this topic, I know it's taken us a little bit, but we're getting to it. So we will definitely be putting a spotlight on avoidant attachment style, because I know that specifically was requested.
Yeah,
But
and
we will be talking.
we
Go
love
ahead.
getting your guys' comments, like any episode suggestions, things you want to hear about. Like, we absolutely want to hear about that and incorporate and add more episodes that involve those things.
Of course. We definitely want to hear from our audience and incorporate your ideas. And this is just goes to show that it's not always going to happen immediately, but we definitely keep tabs on things that are brought to our attention. The four main attachment styles are secure attachment, when you're comfortable with intimacy and independence, balance, trust, communication, emotional regulation. Anxious slash preoccupied attachment style craves closeness, fears abandonment, may appear clingy or overly concerned with a partner's availability. Avoidant slash dismissive values independence, fears dependence, tends to shut down or withdraw when things get too close. Disorganized slash fearful avoidant attachment style is the push pull dynamic, craves closeness but fears getting hurt, often linked to trauma. I would say that is probably where I was most of my life, most of my younger life, probably up into my second marriage, even, was the disorganized, fearful, avoidant,
Yeah, and
with a
I was just
sprinkle of
about
anxious and avoidant in there.
I was just about to ask, like, do you feel like either you are more one style now or you have been in the past?
Yeah, in the past, I feel like disorganized, fearful, avoidant was most of what I was most of my life, like I said, with avoidant and anxious sprinkled in there. But I feel like in the last few years, I've kind of gone through stages where I went from the disorganized to avoidant, and I stuck in that for a hot minute, like some years. And then I think I moved into the anxious attachment style.
Yeah.
And now I'm moving out of anxious attachment style. I still have a sprinkle of anxious and avoidant in there, but I feel like I'm more in the secure attachment style now because I'm really comfortable with intimacy. I'm very much comfortable with independence. I want trust and communication in my relationship. I don't want to be in your back pocket. I want to have healthy communication, but I do still like have that sometimes need to be clingy and worried about my partner's availability if they're really in it for me. And then other times because of my own trauma, I get really independent and I'm like, fuck everybody, I don't need anybody and I can do this and you can kiss my ass, and that's where the sprinkle of the avoidant comes in. But overall, like, I feel like I have transitioned just in the last 2 years from between avoidant to anxious to secure with a sprinkle of anxious and avoidant here and there still.
I definitely have to agree. Like, I've been gifted enough to see quite a bit of your evolution as far as this goes. And yeah, you've definitely gone from I don't want it, I don't need it, whether it's because of healing or because you just didn't want to deal, to okay, well, what is this going to mean for me emotionally? To I know what I want and I am not going to break my boundaries for anything because I know what I want now. And you're secure in yourself to ask for said things.
Yeah. And I'm secure enough in myself that it's like people are like, I know that they think that when you say that, that means like it doesn't hurt when a relationship ends. It fucking killed me.
It
Like,
does.
and there were
That would
days,
mean way darker things just than an attachment style. That's like a sociopath, like.
yeah, well, but people think that. They really think that because they see me smiling or happy or whatever, like, no, you're not going to see every wave of tears that hits me. Does it hit me still most days? Yeah, but do you get to see that? No, not most people. Why? Because it's not about you. It's when that moment hits me, it's because I need to feel that emotion. It's not about showing it to the world. Sometimes on my snap, because that's where I'm most vulnerable, like those people see it, but like it's an in the moment thing. It's not because, oh, look at me, look at me. It's because in that moment, I need to vent it out. And that was the safest place that I had in that moment.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like people don't see those private moments because they're not for anybody else. They're for me and my healing and my progress. So you don't need to see it. You only need to see the happy, peaceful, joyful self that I am, that I present to the world, not because that's all that I am, but because if you're not somebody that like I trust and is part of my inner circle, why do you need more of me than the superficial, happy, joyful personality, kind person that I am?
I definitely
Like, where
agree with
is,
that.
yeah, like, what are you getting out of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I for myself in that aspect, I've definitely noticed because I am Carter, I am like definitely what people like probably perceive as more cynical. Like, but when people are like, I want you to be negative, I want you to fit into that stereotype when I'm super happy and bubbly, I'm like, what are you getting out of your perceived notion of me? Why do you want me to do that? Like,
Yeah, it always makes me question when people like want to see you miserable. Like,
I
really?
definitely agree.
Like,
Hey,
and also, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, and also, like, if the world is wanting me to see me miserable, why? so that my exes have a show, like, so that it proves that I love them. If my love wasn't enough to prove that I love them, then my pain shouldn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here with that.
Oh, like, again, I have to read things. Sorry, y'all. I want to get this right. But honestly, that goes into what creates anxious attachment styles or avoidant styles. Like, so attachment styles are actually formed before people are 4 years old. And with like avoidant attachment, it's because of inconsistent caregivers. So one time they're super loving with you and they're so happy and you're their whole world. And then they're too busy, they're dismissive, they're whatever. That is one of it for avoidant, and it's also the same for anxious. A lot of these have dual things. So also an absentee caregiver that can create an avoidant attachment style. Somebody that is either never there, that you know about is never there, or they come and they go and they're here and they're there. Another one that is very common is give and take affection. So if you do something I like, I'll give you all the affection in the world. But if you do even the smallest thing I don't like, I completely no, I don't want to like ever. And it's not like you need to go in your room so I can have a minute. It's I don't ever want to fucking see your face again. Like, how could you fucking talk to me like that as my child? Stuff like that. That will create both anxious and avoidant attachment styles. And a lot of parents, unfortunately, like this was passed down from their parents and they start doing to their child and they don't even realize they're doing it. And that passes it on.
Well, and making your kids feel like they have to earn affection or they have to earn approval. Like
Conditional love. That's very common.
A lot of parents coming from trauma, that's how they love, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're passing it down generationally.
Yeah, I will say, like, and I know I'm proud, I might get some judgment out of this, but I've told my child I don't have unconditional love. There are, you mess with a kid, I'm sorry, we spoke about this last time, wood chipper. You beat a woman doesn't mean I won't stop loving you, but it might mean I beat you. Like, my love is not unconditional. I am not willing to accept abuse, but it does mean I'm not going to let anybody abuse you. It will mean I stand up for you. It will mean, like, I will explain things and sit down and talk to you.
I work really hard to explain to my kids that my love is unconditional, but that doesn't mean I won't view you for who you are. Like, I will love you while I watch you go into the wood chipper if you hurt a child.
Yeah.
I will still love you because you're my child, but unfortunately, I'm not defending you from your own actions.
Yeah.
Love
See,
does not mean protecting you from your own actions.
Yeah. My thing is, like, I have certain conditions, but my conditions aren't what you dress like, what your orientation is, what is it you choose to do with your life, as long as you are not harming people. Because unfortunately, trauma brain, that is a complete switch. If you harm a child, I can't. But it's never going to be, I don't like what you're doing with your lifestyle that has nothing to do with me. It's harming nobody, and I get to choose whether I love. That will never make my love stop. It can't. I work very hard on that, but I do believe some parents do not realize the conditions they're putting on their love or how it even affects their children.
I'd agree with that. Moving into a deeper dive in avoidant attachment, defining traits are high value on independence and self-reliance, feels uncomfortable with too much closeness or dependency, downplays the importance of relationships. I don't need anyone. Emotionally distant, walls up, hard to read feelings, often seen as cool, collected, detached, but underneath there can be deep fears of rejection. I would say that there are times, especially post breakup, where I fall into that really hard for a period, but then I move back out of it. Um, and in that is where I noticed that my resilience has become much better these days,
Yeah.
but it's still there. um, Origins usually develops when caregivers were emotionally unavailable, dismissive of feelings, or encouraged premature independence.
Yeah.
Uh, Child
I
learns my needs won't be met, so I'll meet them myself.
Well, like, I know for both of us personally, like growing up, like a focus on like hyper independence at a very young age was a fact. Like, we both had to make meals for people other than us very young. We both had to clean like whole houses very young. We were both told, you can't fucking handle this at 3, 4, 5 years old. And I don't know about you, like, I know a little bit, but like for my family, now that I'm older and I am hyper dependent and I don't want to ask them for help, and it fucking bothers me even when they offer it. I'm not saying I haven't taken it, but it does bother me. But that probably comes from a super young point of them being like, you can't handle a whole household basically on your own. Like, I gotta work, I gotta do XYZ. You can't be an adult as a young child.
Well, and I have that same issue, but I'm learning with that one too, because especially because I've always been like, if they ever help, like, what if the worst case scenario happens and I can't do what I initially um, said I would do, and then the worst case scenario happened for me.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm still like trudging along, maybe not exactly the way that I intended, but I'm still slow poking it along, doing what I can, making my effort. And I'm like, at the end of the day, like, if the people that helped me ended up, because when you help somebody else, realistically, as a responsible adult, you have to really consider, if I do this and the worst case scenario happens, am I going to be okay?
Yeah.
That's realistically, as an adult, what you have to ask yourself. And if you help that person knowing that worst case scenario could happen, not that it will happen, but could happen, and then you're stuck, it's hard to blame it on the person.
Yeah. And like, I think
Because,
especially if it's pounded into you young, like, I wasn't ever taught to think, well, can I take care of this person? Am I going to be okay after I take care of this person? I was always taught, what kind of person are you if you don't help people? I was never taught to think about me and if I was going to be okay helping this person.
yeah, I'm the same way. It's like being told, well, family always helps family. No, no, actually, that's not true. Because sometimes family only wants help because they want to drag you under. Sometimes family really does want help, and they really are trying to do the best they can, and life just happens and it sucks, and everybody kind of gets swept up in the wave, and you just kind of got to hold out until things get better. But like, just expecting that because we're related or whatever, you have to help me is such a weird place to
Yeah.
be.
And like, I
Uh,
I have a lot of family, like, they go along the notion of, if you wanted to, you would. If you want to see them, you could make time. If you want to, you could. I'm like, I'm very physically busy. Let's just I got Lakota's schedule that's back to back now. I got my own schedule that's back to back now. But then I take into, for those of you that know, spoons. I don't have a whole lot of spoons beyond the have tos to keep my house in an order. I like it because I am OCD about my space, work, Lakota's appointments, blah, 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 and then the little bit I can do outside of that. I don't got a lot of it. So when people are like, if you wanted to, you would, I'm like, sometimes I do want to so freaking bad. I ain't got the spoons. I just don't got it. That doesn't mean I don't love you or I'm avoiding you or I'm angry at you. It means I just can't that day.
I feel that. And I used to feel bad for those days when I would have them. And now I don't. I am like, if people really love me and I tell them that I am struggling, or if I just don't respond to them, it's like when family members call other family members because I haven't talked to them for a week or 2 weeks, and they're like, are they mad at me because they haven't talked to me? And it's like, bro, why didn't you just send me a text and ask me that if you really thought that? Because I would have replied to you, no, I'm busy. Like, life is just busy for me. And sometimes, yeah, busy means I wake up exhausted. I have to take care of my kid. I have to get my basic appointment stuff done. And then the rest of the day, I am sitting in front of my Snapchat, smoking my dab and vibing out to music for the next 8 to 10 hours. And people are like, how is that busy? That is busy because my mental capacity had diminished completely that day and I had no energy left for anything, but I still needed to socially connect because that battery hadn't been filled yet, or I still needed to like fight insomnia that was not going to let me sleep for the next 8 to 12 hours. Like, I needed to get through that time in a way that wasn't going to be more harmful for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bottom line. And people are like, that's not busy. Yes, yes, it is.
And that goes back to like something else I wanted to talk about. Like, so many people think like anxious, attachment, fearful, whatever is just in romantic partners or in relationships. But honestly, it goes into our friendships, into our family. And that's why, like, for me, I don't just have one attachment style. If you look at the way I like attach to my friends and the people I'm close to now, that is healthy, successful attachment. I do not feel threatened by their independence. They don't feel threatened by mine. I can make time for them. It feels like healthy. They aren't draining me. I have family that it is a fearful attachment. I am attached to them. I do not like it. It brings me great distress to being in their physical presence. I got romantic relationships that I'm avoidant attachment style completely, and then I got ones where, like we were talking about, I know I'm not going to hear from them for 5, 6, 7 days, like, and I know that. But with them, it's an anxious attachment. I'm going to stress the fuck out until I hear from them. Even if it's bad, that's still better than the not. Every relationship has its own attachment styles for some people, and for some people, one is all.
Oh, trust me, silence kills you no matter what your attachment style is. Silence is just fucking rude.
Yeah, I don't deal with silence well at all, but like that brings out the Michael Myers in me.
Apparently, I am dealing with it much better now because I just literally was like, okay, well, I guess you just wanted to hang out and be a coward, so I'm out. And I was so surprised, although Rowan, the AI, told me that I really shouldn't need to send a message for closure, just unfriend and move on. And I was like, absolutely not.
See,
and he was just so upset about that. And I'm like, listen, you need to understand.
Some
Yeah,
people,
no, I'm like, you
needed that.
No, I did, but not just for me. Like, I needed him to understand that how dare you do that to anybody? Like, how dare you? That is the most cowardly thing you could do. If you want to walk away from a relationship, just be a fucking human about it and look at the person and be like, I can't do this. Or text them if you're that big of a coward that you can't do it face to face. Just text them, send a text and be like, sorry, no.
Yeah, I can say that even with my avoidance, even with my reluctance, and you've like seen me note the fuck out of just friendships with, but even then I will text or look at a person and be like, I may not give you a reason, but we're not speaking again. Like, don't talk to me, whatever. And that might be the only thing I say to you, but I let you know. You're not gonna hear from me again.
I have ghosted people, but when I ghost people, it's typically because I'm trying to be disrespectful.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I've definitely done it, but by the point I'm doing it, I either feel like my safety is at risk, or you deserve to just be left the fuck alone without an explanation. And that takes
Absolutely.
a little.
And sometimes there are those people. It's like the being disowned by my parent. I didn't feel a need to respond to that. And I have had zero anxiety about that. Normally, my OCD would have spun me out like, you didn't respond to that message. How could you not
I
respond to
know.
that
I
message?
I had noticed that. I was like, she hasn't messaged me about it. She's very firm in this decision. Like, usually, like something like this, you're like, did I do the right thing? You're like, I need to talk about every angle of this to really realize if I'm okay with it. But immediately, you're like, this is the line. You don't get to cross that with me, and especially not my child. You don't get to bring him into things that he shouldn't be brought into.
Well, for me, it's just purely a matter of respect. I'm allowed to have an opinion, and you want to disown me for my opinion, kick rocks. Listen, not only kick rocks, but kick hot rocks in flip flops with no socks. Like, I don't give a shit.
You know
If
what?
you want to have a relationship with me, you have to have a relationship with me, which means sometimes my opinions aren't going to be your cup of tea. Sometimes my opinions are going to be a shot of whiskey that turned out to be an edible, and you're just going to have to live with it.
Yeah, I've been right there. Like, I've had so many people be like, you're gonna regret, like, not having the relationship with your father that you could have, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I know way more of that man's history than anybody now that his mom is gone. First off. Second off, I'm not going to forgive anybody that told my family I was addicted to drugs living under a bridge and I gave up my child. None of which were true. And then you think I should feel bad for you when I don't, because you never felt bad enough to check on my life. But people are like, that's your dad. I'm like, and I was his fucking crotch gremlin. We care the same amount about each other at this point.
You're like, last time I checked, it is the parent's responsibility to have the relationship with the child, not the other way around. And once
I tried to fucking be the bigger person, but if you're gonna spread lies about me to people that are going to tell me, I'm not going to feel bad when karma kicks you in the dick. And that's healing for me.
For me, I think it's just literally the more people that leave my life that bring negativity to it. Like, I just sit there and I go, okay, I know that I didn't see it at the time. I know that I didn't see that this was just a lesson and not a blessing, but thank you for the blessing of removing the lesson.
I was like, when my life finally started to change, like, there had been a lot of things going on in my life that's like, you have to drop everybody that you thought was your friend. Because it's all bad. I lost one best friend because he couldn't stand when I was happy. Lost another best friend because she lied about me stealing. Those two best friends hooked up and I hadn't talked to him. And then I was like, I thought I had healed. I was doing good. I moved out to the middle of nowhere where nobody could ever fucking find me. And I thought it was great, but I realized I was isolating myself. And then when I left that best friend, and it's when you and I were still friends, her and I had an argument. And it was when I was finally starting to leave my more anxious attachments and go on to just full on avoidance. But we had an argument about a musician.
Uh-huh.
And she was mad that they changed music styles and blah 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 and called them a sellout and everything else. And like, it pissed me off to a point that didn't make sense to talk about music artists and me to be that angry. I had to sit down and really figure out why I was that angry and why she was that angry too. And basically, it came to the point of, I used to be like, you like what you like, blah, blah, and I kept my head in the sand, and that was the first point, being like, no, I don't like what you're saying. Like, this really doesn't make sense to me, and we need to talk, like, so I can understand, like, your point of view, like, because it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm a little angry. And she couldn't give me that courtesy. And I feel like that's when I really started to shift my attachment styles to being like, oh, that's my guy. I need her. I need them in my life. I need to agree with them. And I need to, like, whatever, to keep the peace, to then be like, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut about things just to keep friendships, because I don't care anymore who's in my life and who's not in my life. Like, I just need to be on my path and speak my truth.
And that's the truth. Like, honestly, like I've said before, even if it's me, like, tell me. I prefer to know. And I'm like, even if I get mad, okay, so what? I'm gonna get mad, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna process it, I'm gonna think about things, and then I'm gonna be like, okay, this is valid, or I don't like this, and I'm gonna come back and talk to you about this. It's okay. That's another thing. People think that they can't get mad when, or have a disagreement in a relationship without a fight. You can have a disagreement. You cannot like what somebody said. They can piss you off completely, and you not lash out, and instead turn around and take some space and go process some shit on your own, and then come back and go, oh, okay, so I'm feeling this way about this situation because of XYZ, and I need you to understand that before we move forward in the conversation.
Like, I have a friend, B. You know B. Our audience has probably heard me talk about B at this point. Like, he has openly stated, up until I came into his life, he's like, either people got mad and just stopped talking to me and didn't even tell me, like, he's like, even when I knew I was being hurtful or not, like, they just cut me off, not talk to me, or like treat me like I was disgusting, ignore me. He's like, you were the first person in my life to be like, look, motherfucker, I don't like XYZ. This is how you're going to fix XYZ, or these will be the consequences, and I don't fucking budge on these, like, limits. He's like, everybody else either is like, oh, I'll let you get away with it, or just cut me completely fucking off. You were the first person to be like, I like you enough to correct you once. These are boundaries. Let me teach you.
Yeah. Moving back into the avoidant attachment style, in adult relationships, avoidants often pull away when things get too intimate, struggle with vulnerability and emotional expression, prefer casual relationships to keep partners at arm's length. Boy, howdy. Might sabotage closeness, pick fights, disappear, go cold. On the surface, they seem confident, but inside there's often fear of rejection, shame around needs, or discomfort relying on others. And for me, it was a combination of all of that.
All of it. Oh, yeah. I
And
definitely
the
have
more
to
I
agree.
work on, yeah, and the more I work on me, like me being okay with me, regardless of the circumstances, knowing what I want in a partner, and knowing I want a partner a lot. Like, I expect to have a partner, but also knowing that if I don't, I will be just fine. I won't necessarily like it, but I will be fine.
And I didn't have to read the paper. Sorry, y'all. Right. But it has been proven that if you like go through every whatever and you can realize that you are avoidant attachment or you are anxious attachment, fearful, like whatever, there are ways to get past this. It's not like, oh, so this is my attachment style and nothing's ever gonna change. We've both stated that like through the past our attachment styles have changed, and I think a lot of the reason for that is probably therapy, going through relationships, being more honest with ourselves about what we actually want instead of what we're supposed to want. Like, that has been so helpful for me. Like, when I was younger, I thought because of the family I came from, I was supposed to have 4 kids, a white picket fence, like a husband that was on the surface loving, but didn't actually give a fuck about any of us once we were inside. Like, that was the norm for me, and that created in itself, along with other things like such anxious attachments, because all the marriages I seen were not okay. They were very abusive. They were very controlling. And for everybody to be like, this is what you want in life, that created such a bad anxiety in me because I was like, that's happiness? That's the American dream and what I'm supposed to want. So my idea of what relationships were supposed to be created so much anxiety in me, it probably fucked with quite a few relationships.
Well, that leads into the challenges of avoidant attachment. Difficulty building long-term deep intimacy. Partners often feel rejected, unimportant, or like they're too much. Can create a cycle. Avoidant pulls away, anxious partner chases harder, avoidant retreats further, so on and so forth.
The cycle
The
goes
strengths of
on.
avoidant attached individuals are high independence, resilience, self-sufficiency. They're good in a crisis. They can keep a level head in a crisis. Often excel in careers or pursuits that reward focus and autonomy. Healing and growth. Building awareness is step 1. Practices learning to identify and share feelings. Gradually allowing safe vulnerability. Therapy, especially somatic or attachment based. Practicing interdependence, not losing independence, but allowing mutual support. Reframing intimacy as strength, not weakness. That's a huge one. Like, for me anyways, it was so huge to like understand that not only is intimacy strength, but vulnerability, as scary as it is actually strength. Because when you come to somebody in a state of vulnerability and you're like, here I am, how they respond is not about you. That is about them.
See, and it took me so long to actually realize that because, like, for lack of better words, I grew up in a very masculine household just without it. Strength or weakness was weakness. You don't cry, you don't say I love you, you don't like anything like that. So now as an adult, like the ability to be vulnerable, to actually communicate feelings, like that is a strength of mine because I watched the opposite destroy a lot of people. So it is very strong to be able to communicate feelings.
It is. And it's hard. It's hard. Tips for partners of avoidant attached people. Don't take withdrawal personally. It's about their pattern, not your worth. Give them space while encouraging open communication. Keep boundaries clear. You can respect their need for independence without sacrificing your own needs. That is really important because, especially if you're going for a long-term relationship, if somebody is really struggling with that and you need specific check-ins, things like that, and they struggle with that, it is really important to not get mad and frustrated, but to reassert your boundaries and your needs to your partner as such. Like, in this partnership, I feel most valued when XYZ is happening. Not, I hate that you don't do this.
See, I
Because that
definitely
also,
Good.
I was going to say, that also causes conflict, because when you say it like that, it's more of an attack. But when you say it, when you frame it as, I need to feel secure and safe in this partnership, it's like, oh, I can provide this simple thing to make you feel safe, or I'm not doing this simple thing, so I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, like, not my last relationship, but the one before that, like, we were very honest with our attachment and our trauma and all that type of stuff. And so I either have anxious attachment or avoidant attachment, and it's never the same thing in one person. Romantically, I will say. This person was a very they were very confident in their attachments of all people and whatever. But when I fight, when I argue, I need to bail. Bailing for me can go be walking downstairs and smoking 2 or 3 cigarettes and coming upstairs and talking. He needs to have communication, or had to have communication. So our rule was, I could get through 10 minutes of an argument and go downstairs and have a cigarette, as long as, like, I didn't leave said prior. I wasn't completely leaving. I was taking a break and then coming back. That was our success goal. Like, so I wasn't ever completely bailing, and he wasn't ever completely having control. It is working with your person and figuring out what your lines are.
Yeah. And lastly, be patient, but don't shrink yourself trying to make them comfortable. Something that all of us with different attachment styles that aren't healthy, struggle with, is when somebody shows us a little bit of love, we don't want to let it go. Even avoidance. We run from it, but then we circle back. That's why it's a pattern. We circle back. Why? Because we know we want it, but we just don't know how to stay wanting it.
Yeah. All
In a
these
safe way.
are playbooks for survival. Like, it's just a survival of attention and what we can handle.
Yeah. And, like, realistically, any one of those attachment styles, disorganized, avoidant, anxious, at the end of the day, all of those attachment styles were taught because love was given conditionally. So they are still fearful when they find love that this is conditional on how they act. So each in their own way throws a tantrum to see if they can get you gone. If you're going to be conditional, if you're going to be running away. And the only way to avoid that is if healthy people, even if you still have one of the unhealthy attachment styles, sit and communicate in a healthy way and explain what's going on with your attachment style and why you have specific needs until you can get into a healthier routine. And a partner that's willing to work through that is a partner that is worth the effort. And a partner that isn't willing to work within the means of your needs doesn't need to be with you.
And that's what I wanted to bring up. Like, if you have attachment styles that aren't successful attachment styles, that is not a flaw. That is not something to be ashamed of. These are literal survival tactics that your brain took in to navigate social situations from a very young age. You're doing what your brain is telling you to survive, to thrive, and to flourish. Doesn't mean there's no help. Doesn't mean that these aren't even maybe still the best ways for you to survive and cope through what you're going through now until you reach greener pastures. It's just how we cope.
Well, and avoidant attachment isn't about not caring. It's about
you
old
probably care
wounds.
more.
It's about old wounds that make closeness feel unsafe. Healing is still possible, and relationships can shift when both partners understand these patterns. Like, you can have any of these attachment styles, like I said, and still have a healthy relationship. It just takes work. I invite the audience to ponder, which attachment style do you most identify with? Do you see avoidant patterns in yourself or your relationship? Do you see a mix of the attachment styles? Do you lean healthy? I feel like we will probably need to do other episodes later on the different attachment styles, because this one was focused on avoidant per request. But, you know, this is just one more aspect of a situation that people take titles and use them to make themselves feel less than, when really the titles are to help you identify where you can get your needs met so that you can thrive within the means of the confines of your current reality, not to give you more reasons to browbeat yourself into submission of not worthiness. You're worthy. The fact that you exist and breathe makes you worthy.
Yes. And I would like to remind our audience that we did get this episode suggestion from a comment. So anything you would like to hear us talk about, whether it's this subject more or anything on your mind, just shoot it to us. It may not be immediately, but we will get to it and have a discussion about it.
Yeah, and as always, same time next week. Always find us on YouTube, Spotify, 3:30, unless there's technical difficulties, in which case, I post in the community or I will post a short. But remember, we love you. Rage responsibly.
Bye, y'all.
We're also available on Spotify. We said what we said, and we're just getting started. Thanks for listening. Now go rage responsibly. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.